funds available for that sort of thing.
Or what'd you do for us?
So there's some
Thank you so very
I want to welcome everybody to Agricenter International.
I sort of view my job as kind of a shuttle diplomat. I think the role of Secretary of Agriculture ought to be out about. That's why I try to get out. My role is to listen, get out here and do like we're doing today, and listen to the hearts and minds and voices and spirit of American agriculture over the challenges of the things at USDA, the things at federal government, EPA, FDA, those kind of things. What are we doing that we shouldn't be doing? What are we not doing that we ought to be doing? And take that back to the President and administration and help develop policies. And also, the other bilaterally is that take the vision and the heart of the President out here to the rural communities and talk about what he's trying to accomplish through trade and other deregulation efforts for the benefit of American producers. And every time we talk, he said, how are my farmers doing? You better take care of them. I know you want to talk about trade. I imagine there's some want to talk about labor, regulations, and those kind of things. Those are the three major issues we hear about most everywhere we go.
My first concern is how are we going to open up or normalize trade relations with our largest client, the Chinese people. We really want to be able to sell our soybeans to them.
I guess before I kind of talk about that, though, what I tell you we're doing globally in the USDA is really trying to act globally in the fact of not being dependent upon one large customer. We're going to recover that market, but I want them to come to us don't have to go and beg them. The reason that trade is so disruptive when these kind of things happen is because the U.S. producer is so productive, and we produce more. We continue to produce more and more and more every year, and that means we got to depend on more exports every year because you have more than covered the plate of American eaters year in and year out. And that's why the President understood that farmers were going to be retaliated against because we got a surplus. We can grow more than we can consume. We got to ship more than we can consume overseas. So that's why it's important. I think we're getting there. I think we've turned the corner. I think we've bottomed out over these issues. If China will do what they said they were going to do when they were here, we're not going to be anybody's patsy any longer. He went to the Chinese and told Prime Minister Abe that, look, we're your best customer, and why don't you treat us like your best customer with the trade deficit that we have with you?
Some of our farmers across the state are in the process of using the H-2A labor, and we wonder if you have an update on that and how that is progressing.
So labor's become a huge issue with 3.5% unemployment. It was hard anyway. People don't want to work on the farm like they used to. And the H-2A program has been sort of a help, but it's been so onerous and torturous to navigate through that. What we're trying to do at USDA is be sort of a TurboTax model to allow farmers to come in through farmers.gov and check off all the things they need, submit an application there that we can transmit electronically to the Department of Labor and at the same time the Department of Homeland Security to get done and get predictability. There's a modernization of the H-2A program that's ongoing. The White House is preparing now legislation to modernize that in a way that I think is going to be much more functional, much more certain about whether you can get that. I think we need to make Americans know that farm labor are not immigrants. They're not coming to become U.S. citizens. They're not coming here to take away from the U.S. economy. They're here to help grow and build the U.S. economy. I think when we can communicate that message that immigration is really separate from a legal, a reliable farm labor program, then we can make progress in that.
I'm a pretty diverse farmer from about 50 miles south of here. We grow cotton, cattle, timber, peanuts, and corn. But cotton's probably my main crop. And we've heard some about soybeans in the trade pack today, but I really haven't heard much about cotton. Is cotton part of this new trade pact that we're working on with China?
Yes, that cotton will be a part of that, as well as others. We're hoping ethanol and DDGs can also be part of it, but it'll be a pretty broad-based type of product. We've given China since the spring, really the first of the year, we gave them a great shopping list there that from USDA that USTR trade representative has been working off of.
In this room, there's one common denominator, and that's common sense. And I wish you'd take some of that back up to DC.
He pots it up for me?
We'll let John do that. He's great.
Over the last couple of years, you may have been here 8 or 9, 10 times. So we love the fact you love Tennessee, and we get the fact you have to go to Arkansas every once in a while. Thank you so much.